What's up, guys? Specstar here today with my draft recap for Brawl for All. And for those of you who don't know what it is, it's a big tournament with I think 160 people, and the tiering system is kind of based on the GBA, but there are tiers with A and B. Like Tier 1 will cost you 180 points, Tier 1A will cost you 180 points, and Tier 1B will cost you 160 points. So it goes on like that down the line. And you have 740 points to take 8 Mons. And this is a draft I took. The first Pokemon I took here is Mew. And I was actually surprised that Mew fell to me because I had the 7th pick. And Mewnium Z is allowed, which makes this thing really interesting. It not only has its usual defensive capabilities, in here it can also stat pass, just not speed, so it can pass things like barrier, nasty plot, all that fun stuff. And also I got the Mewnium Z capabilities. And I decided to make this my Z user. And the way this works is you had points to pick out 2 Z users. I went with this and a later tier 4 which I got, and I'll talk about it when I get to it. So Mew here was a real interesting pick. It just gives me kind of like a chess piece that, depending on the matchup, I'll be able to use this thing in any number of ways, and really it gives me a lot of flexibility. I can take the team in a lot of different directions depending on how Mew works. Of course, it's not just Mewnium. It has every coverage in the book. Any type, it's got coverage for it, and I can slap that Z crystal on it. So it'll be interesting to see what with these rules Mew can do in the league. And the next Pokemon I took was Charizard X, and Charizard X and Mew do have a little bit of synergy in that Mew can defog for it, of course. Mew can take the rock and ground moves that Charizard hates, and basically Mew is just a good switch out for Zard X when it needs it, as well as keeping the hazards off. And Zard X is just a monster, and I took it so early because I think it's even better in 8-Mon format, just because you have so many fewer Pokemon and you are much less likely to have a great answer to this thing, which there aren't that many to begin with, and I definitely took one of them myself here. But this thing, it has more versatility than people know. It has some bulk, so I can run like a Roost variant. I could even throw a defog on this, Charizard, one of the world's worst defoggers. It's got actually a ton of special attacks. I'd love to find a matchup where I could run especially attacking Charizard X just for the hell of it. And of course it's got more physically defensive bulk, but it's not even that bad on the special defense side, particularly with its typing, which is pretty good for a special wall. So I look forward to trying to make this thing shine, because Lord knows it's hard as hell to prep for when you have 11 or 12 months, let alone 8. Now, as I was talking about some of the things that can be better in 8-Mon format, Char X in particular, it's basically a lot of the most threatening sweepers become much more dangerous, just like Zard X. So I got myself a little bit of insurance here in the 3rd round, taking another tier 1, which is going to be Clefable. And it gets 2 great abilities in Magic Guard and Unaware, and 1 crappy useless ability in Cute Charm. Well, I say crappy useless, but maybe my tone will change if I ever get hit by that Infatuation, because Lord knows how annoying Infatuation is to deal with. But we're just going to be dealing with these 2 abilities for now. Maybe I'll find the game for Cute Charm somewhere down the line. But with Unaware and Magic Guard, you have Magic Guard, which makes it a wall that beats walls, the same way Mew can be when it's running Taunt or something like that. And Unaware, it's a wall that shits on the most threatening setup sweepers. So it's just a nice little contingency plan to have in case I face any sort of annoying tough setup sweepers like Dragonite, Char X, Manaphy, all that fun stuff. And The next Pokemon here I took is Amoonguss, and Amoonguss gives me an answer to Waters, which I didn't have in my first 3 Mons, and is good to pair with Charizard. It definitely does synergize pretty well with Charizard. It's nice to get a good grass type, and if you watched me before, you know that I really like this Pokemon. I have it in UNL, and it's doing a ton, and it's one of my favorite bulky grass types in League format, and I think it's a very good tier 3. Of course, it has Regenerator, which makes it super annoying, and it gets that too powerful move called Spore. It gets other stats moves like Toxic Sunspore. It gets moves like Clear Smog, Foul Play, and it has a few options here. I can get it pumping with an AV, run it physically defensive, synthesis, something like that. It has a little bit more versatility than I think it might be getting credit for. So that's why I took in round 4. And then to go with Amoonguss and build that powerful Regenerator core, I went and I got me an Alomomola in round 5. Now, Alomomola is possibly my favorite tier 4, and it is just a big fat fuck who takes physically. It takes physically attacking Pokemon on, no problem. It can, I guess it can run Calm Mind if it wants to. I could throw Aqua Jet, Liquidation, Knockoff on there, get some moves, but mostly I'm just going to be throwing up wishes and stalling things out with this thing. It is a big fat mofo, and it gives me an answer to Steals and Grounds, which I didn't have a great answer to in my first 4 Pokemon. Speaking of ground answers, the next thing I did is I went and got myself a ground immunity. Assuming you don't count Charizard. It doesn't have to Mega Turn 1, but I mean, what ground Pokemon are you switching it in on? Not many. So I got myself a Hydreigon here, and I went with Mew as my Z user over Hydreigon because I think that, well, not only does it make Mew more annoying to deal with because you have to deal with all the things it can do, but I think Hydreigon, with the team composition I have, I'm going to want to running a Scarf a lot. It can help me break the bulkier teams with specs. I think that Hydreigon is going to be more... Normally Mew likes item freedom more, but I think in this league with the team I have, I'm going to be really... I don't want to kind of tie myself down with Hydreigon. I think I'm going to want to choice it a lot, Life Orb, Assault Vest. I think there's a few things that are going to be more important on this Pokemon. So that's why I went with Mew for this user. And Hydreigon, I just think is a tier 2 Pokemon. It's really good. It has phenomenal coverage. It's got a pretty good typing. It gets Defog now, which could be potentially interesting since I have Charizard and I'm going to have to get a little bit creative to keep hazards off the field. It has surprising physical coverage and 105 base attack, which is not bad at all. It's not great, but it's definitely not bad at all. And then that's going to be my first 6 Pokemon. And then I had 2 left. With my next pick, I went and I took Volbeat, which can be a little bit interesting paired with Hydreigon because I can get that Tail Glow pass going on. And Prankster, I can even throw Defog on this. Encore's going to be nice. Its bulk actually isn't the worst. It's nothing to scream about, but I mean, it's usable in that way. It can take some hits. It can pass some Tail Glows. Basically, for 20 points, I just thought it had a powerful niche and was potentially a steal for that cost. So the last Pokemon I took here was Rhyperior, and Rhyperior gives me another physical attacker which I really could have used. It gives me more rocks, which is lovely because I don't really want to tie Mew down to that, and Clef's going to want to mix it up sometimes. I can run... It has that interesting ability, Solid Rock, which lessens the damage from super effective attacks, and I can run Agility I can run Rock Polish on this, Swords Dance, I can just make it a bulky mofo, setting up rocks, having toxic, all that fun stuff, roar. Just gives me a better way to deal with electrics, which were a little bit of a problem for my team up to that point. And a good physical attacker, maybe a sweeper that people need to pay some mind to. Something that entices people to run some sort of hidden power. Also gives me a pursuit trapper, which may not be the best pursuit trapper, but certainly has a little bit of viability here. And it also gives me a Pokemon with some decent coverage to use a Z move. And that's going to be something that I think can be potentially important here. Or, I was typing Stoneplate, I definitely mean Rocky MZ. I can run Rocky MZ, Ground DMZ, All Out Pummeling, Acid Downpour, Sub-Zero Slammer. Really, the sky's the limit with this thing. It may not be the best user in the world, but it's definitely something that if you don't prepare for it properly, it can really get you. So I thought it would be a good value pick in my final round, my final pick. So that's going to be my team there. To recap, I've got the Mew, the Charizard X, Clefable, Amoonguss, Alomomola, that nasty Regenerator Core, Hydreigon, Volbeat, and Rhyperior. So if you guys have any thoughts on the team, please comment them down below. If you have any predictions for how we're going to do in this tournament, also comment that. There's quite a bit of competition in this league, and there's even quite a few very good players in my division alone. Well, my drafting pool, I should say. I don't know if you'd necessarily call it a division. But while there was some good players there, of course, there was going to be a different pool for the battling, so it's going to be interesting to see who I get paired with, because definitely there are some guys I've seen in this league who I know to be very good players, and I look forward to trying my team out against theirs and seeing how it works. And I want to thank you guys for watching, and have yourselves a good night.